So today we the students of class 9 are going to present the chapter tissues. So first let us know about the tissue. So tissue is a group of cells or a cluster of cells are called tissues. So there are two types of tissue, which is plant tissue and animal tissue. So now let us see about plant tissue. So plant tissue are majorly divided into two, meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue are then subdivided into three, that is apical meristem and intercalary meristem and lateral meristem. And permanent tissue are divided into two, which is simple and complex. And in simple, the parenchyma, and in the parenchyma there is chlorenchyma and arenchyma, and then collenchyma and sclerenchyma. And next, in complex tissue we have xylem and phloem. Next we'll see about animal tissue.
Now let's see animal tissue. Under animal tissue we have four subdivisions. Epithelial tissue. Under epithelial tissue we have four classifications: squamous epithelial tissue, stratified squamous, columnar ciliated, cuboidal, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue.
So plant tissue are divided into two types, meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Now let us see the meristematic tissue. So meristematic tissues are these tissues are mostly found in growing regions of plants, and it is densely packed with thin walls which keep on dividing and produce new cells, and it has a lack of central vacuole. So what are the functions of vacuoles? So the functions of vacuoles are to storage of water and support. So meristematic tissue have a central vacuole because they do not need to store or support. So meristematic tissue are divided into three types: apical meristem, intercalary meristem, and lateral meristem. So apical meristems, it is found in roots and shoot tips of the plants, and it is mainly helps in unilateral growth. So unilateral growth, which means a plant can grow in one direction. Now let us see intercalary meristem. It is present in internodes and it's part of apical meristem, which is left behind during the growth, and it helps in longitudinal growth of plant.
So this is the lateral meristem. So it occurs along the side of longitudinal axis of the plant. It gives rise to vascular tissues. It causes growth in girth of stem and roots. This is responsible for secondary growth.
Let's discuss about permanent tissues. Under permanent tissue we have two different types. One is simple permanent tissue and another is complex permanent tissue. Under simple permanent tissue we have three subdivisions: parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Under parenchyma, it is subdivided into two types: chlorenchyma and arenchyma. In complex permanent tissue, we have two different types: xylem and phloem. Now, permanent tissue and parenchyma will be discussed by Nishanth.
If we start a word about permanent tissues are tissues where in human bodies, but permanent tissues, the tissues in intermolecular space are like gas. If you see in matter, gas are loosely packed. In that ways, even permanent tissues are loosely packed. If you see, the permanent tissues are used in storing of foods. In the permanent tissue, the type is called parenchyma. In parenchyma, there are two types. One is arenchyma, another is chlorenchyma. That's all.
Now, let's discuss about chlorenchyma and arenchyma. Then, let's discuss about collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is a type of parenchymic tissue. Now let's see what is sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is nothing but a simple permanent parenchymic tissue which contains chlorophyll. Usually helps in the process of photosynthesis. Parenchyma. It is generally present in aquatic animals which have large air cavities, which makes them to float easily. Now coming to Collenchyma. Collenchyma provides mechanical strength for the plants for bending. It allows easy bending of various plant parts and provides flexibility to the plant parts like stems and climbers. Mostly the cells in Collenchyma are living. Now coming to Sclerenchyma. They provide hardness, stiffness and rigidity to the plants. For example, the husk of the coconut is made up of Sclerenchymatous. Mostly the cells of the Sclerenchyma are dead. That's why the husk of the coconut is very hard. The cells of the Sclerenchyma have very thick walls because of the lignin content present in it. And now coming to epidermis. Epidermis is nothing but the outer covering of parenchyma. Inside the epidermis only parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma are present. Epidermis. It is a single outer layer of the cell. It secretes a waxy water resistant layer. Usually the epidermis are highly present in the plants like cactus because the cactus basically grows in the regions of dry regions, that is deserts. Thus they secrete a waxy water resistant layer and are very high in absorbing capacity. Epidermis, near epidermis stomata are there. Stomata are covered by kidney shaped guard cells. Beside guard cells, there are the cells of the cock which are usually dead. This epidermis also contains a substance called suberin, which makes them impervious to gases and water. Over here we can see a parenchymic tissue. There are very small, that is little intercellular spaces. Over here you can see this colorful diagram of collenchyma, where these blank spaces are vacuoles, these red colored spaces are nucleus, the outer black covered membrane is called cell wall, this outer red part is called as wall thickenings. This is an example of sclerenchyma, where it is similar to collenchyma but the vacuoles are large in here. Thus there are thick lignified walls. This is a log cross section of these parenchymic tissues.
What about this one?
This is a long narrow type of cross section of all the simple permanent tissue.
So complex permanent tissue. So it is made of more than one type of cell, and they all coordinate to perform a common function. And complex permanent tissue are majorly divided into two, that is xylem and phloem. So xylem have four parts in it: tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers. So tracheids and vessels are thick walls and many are dead cells in it, and they are tubular structures which can easily pass minerals and water through it. And xylem parenchyma stores food in it, and xylem fibers is supportive in the function. And xylem's main work is to transport water and minerals in vertical position. And next, phloem. So phloem have majorly 5 cells in it, 5 types of cells in it. There are sieve cells, sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem fibers and phloem parenchyma. And sieve tubes are tubular cells with perforated walls. And phloem transports food from leaves to other plants.
What do you mean by perforated walls? It consists a lot of holes. Okay?
Yes.
And that is why they are called sieve cells. Sieve means that is a filter, like that.
And phloem transports food from leaves to other parts of the plant after photosynthesis.
So xylem is the one which is useful for transferring what?
Water and minerals.
Water and
Minerals.
minerals. What about phloem?
So it transports food after the photosynthesis process. And next, we have two diagrams of xylem and phloem. So the complex permanent tissue is like two major things, and this is the one part that is trachea of xylem, and this is the vessel part of the xylem, and this is the xylem parenchyma. So in trachea there is a like hole like structure which is called pit, and in vessel also the pits are occurred, and in xylem parenchyma only the nucleus and cytoplasm is there. And in phloem we have sieve plate, sieve tube, phloem parenchyma, companion cell, and it is phloem.
So what are the differences between xylem and phloem based on the diagram? Can you tell me? So you have got the pits here, whereas here you have got lot of sieves, tubes. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
And then anything else?
Yes.
And you can, this is a trachea, is it not? And it has got a vessel type so that it can easily conduct
Water through
Yeah,
it.
it can pass water and minerals. Right. Then
That's it.
Epithelial actin tissues. If you see in these tissues, they have four types. First type is squamous. If you see squamous, these are in human bodies. If you take your hand, if you take your arm, these are squamous. They are so soft. They are so soft, and they are so tiny. They are so thin. You can see by feeling. Next, stratified squamous. These are so they are mixture of squamous.
multi-layered.
Multi-layers
Stratified
of
means
tissues.
multi-layers.
Multi-layers of tissues. These are in our human body. If you take your palm, see your palm is so hard. There are multi of tissues. Next, my friend Dabar is going to explain.
So this is a cuboidal epithelium. So it is found in the salivary glands in our human body. So it is inside our mouth. So let's see about the columnar tissue. So the columnar tissue.
Speak aloud.
Columnar tissue is located in the absorption and secretion zones in our human body. So for example, we will take our intestine. Inside the intestine.
Connective tissues. It is coming under animal tissues, and it binds and supports the body part, and it transports materials. So connective tissues are blood, bone, ligament, cartilage, areolar and adipose tissues. Areolar and adipose tissues. So blood is in a fluid matrix. It carries oxygenated blood and gaseous and other types of materials.
What do you mean by fluid matrix?
Fluid matrix. So blood flows in one direction to different part of body.
It means it is moving. Fluid means moving.
It is connected.
Flowing, moving. Okay, it's a liquid. And that's why it's called fluid matrix. Means there is a continuity.
So and the other types of materials to different parts of body. So blood contains RBC, WBC and platelets.
What do you mean by RBC?
Red blood corpuscle and WBC it's white blood corpuscle and platelets.
Okay, the red blood corpuscles can also be called erythrocyte. Erythro means red. Cyte means cells. So erythrocyte, red blood corpuscles. Then WBC, it's called white blood corpuscle, and this can also be called leukocyte. Leuko means white, so white cells. Then platelets that can also be called thrombocytes. Thrombo means plate, so platelets. Let means small, சின்னதா அப்படின்னு சொல்றதுக்கு leaflet, platelet அப்படின்னு சொல்லலாம் இல்லையா, குட்டி அப்படின்னு அர்த்தம். That is the suffix.
And bones, so it secretes calcium and hardens the bone, and bones are the solid cells.
And that is why for your good growth of bone, you need calcium. Okay?
Ligament. So it is a connective tissue which connected between bones, and it is a fibrous and stretchy.
Fibrous
And stretchy.
It can be stretched. It has got some elastic action also. Okay.
Cartilage. So cartilage, it protects bones by preventing them from rubbing against each other. It is tough, but at the same time it is flexible tissue. Areolar tissue. So it fills space inside the organ, and it is a flexible and it is gel like, both elastic and non-elastic. Adipose tissues. So these tissues store fat molecules.
Muscular tissue. So muscular tissue consists of elongated cells, which is also called muscle fibers, and it is responsible for movement in our body, and it contains special proteins that is also called contractile proteins, and the contractile proteins contract and relax to cause movement. And muscular tissue are majorly divided into three, that is striated muscle, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle. Striated muscle, also called skeletal muscles, they are attached to bones and it helps in body movement, and they are long, cylindrical, unbranched, and multinucleate.
Can you show me the diagram?
So this is striated muscle. And next, smooth muscle. So smooth muscle, the movement of foot in alimentary canal or the contraction and relaxation of blood vessels is the work of smooth muscle. Also found in iris of the eye, in ureters, and in the bronchi of the lungs. These are long with pointed end and unnucleate. Uninucleate.
Uninuclear means single nucleus.
And next we have cardiac muscle.
Can you show me the diagram of smooth muscle?
So this is smooth muscle. And next
And
cardiac.
can you show me the smooth muscle where it is located?
So in the stomach, in the outer part we can see it, and there are three layers, and in the outer part of the stomach we can see this smooth muscle, and in the outer part there are three layers in totally there, and the outer part layer we can see the smooth muscles, and there are group of smooth muscle cells here, and when the one smooth muscle cells is neatly shown here, and which has a nucleus.
And that is why it is called uninucleate.
Yes.
That is single nucleus.
And next we have cardiac muscle. Muscles of the heart show rhythmic contraction and relaxation throughout the life. So this is the work of cardiac muscle. And cardiac muscle is cylindrical, branched, and uninucleate. And this is the diagram of cardiac muscle.
Now let's discuss about nervous tissue. We know that cluster of cells make a tissue. Same ways, in nervous tissue is made up of nerve cells or neurons. Usually nerve cells are branched. Nerve cells or neurons constitute a nerve fiber. Group of nerve fiber constitute a nervous tissue. Usually the nerve fiber might be up a metal log. Branched part of the nerve cell is called as the dendrites. The thin, long, hair-like structure that extends from the cell body is called as axon. The signal that passes along the nerve fiber is called a nerve impulse. This nerve impulse helps the animal to move rapidly. So, the helpfulness of the nervous tissue is that when you touch a thorn, you immediately retract your hand. That's what I have written. Retract your hand when you touch a thorn.
Can you show me a diagram for this?
This is the diagram of the nervous tissue.
Tell me about the parts.
This is the nerve cell. Group of nerve cell constitute a nerve tissue. This is the nerve end. The thin hair-like structure that goes along a narrow line is called as the axon, as we saw already. These are the branched parts of the nerve cell called as dendrites. This round discoiled shape is called as nucleus. This outer blank body is called as the cell body, which contains of nucleus as well as cytoplasm.
It is something like a head and tail arrangement. Assuming that this is head and this one is tail. So this is the nerve tissue, that is the neuron unit.
So I have summarized this nervous tissue. In an landscape model. So first in nervous tissue, response to stimuli. You may think, what is meant by stimuli? Stimuli is nothing but the detectable change in the external or internal environment. Second, nerve cells or neurons, that is, it is made up of nerve cells or neurons. Third one, nerve fiber may be up a meter long. We have already seen that nerve cells or neuron make up nerve fiber. From nerve fiber, nervous tissue being constructed. The signal that is passed through the nerve fiber is called as nerve impulse. Nervous tissue is also called as connective tissue just because all our nerves get connected to one another. The branched part are called the dendrites, and the long thin hair-like structure of the nerve cell is called as axon.
Sulda,
This is a gamified chart, which is understandable word. You can identify the word here. Here, if you want any hints, you can see at the back. Okay, Dayapar.
So I found the first word called xylem.
xylem. Speak loudly, man. Speak loudly.
So I found the first word xylem.
Xylem, you have found out xylem and you can cross it. Okay?
Yes.
You can highlight that one. Then
I found that
what is the spelling for xylem?
XYLEM.
L-E-M. Right. What is the next word you can crack?
Complex.
First tell the
So okay. So I found the second word.
Ala.
This flashcard is a gamified flashcard, which by this you can learn. By this method, you can learn and memorize the toughest words such as this. My friend Dayaparan will solve this.
So I found the I cracked the first word. It's called xylem. So this is the word. This is the word I cracked in this.
you have cracked that word xylem. Good. Next.
So I cracked the second word in this. It is called complex.
Complex. Very good. Can anyone solve it? Another word? Can you crack? Can you crack? Come. You do it. Identify another term.
Sir, I have identified phloems.
Very good. Phloem. Anything else? So we have cracked 3 terms, 3 words. Then anything? Your friend has challenged you. You have to find out. There is a term hidden that is associated with the nerve.
I have cracked the word nervous.
Nervous, very good. And then
More 2 words are there.
so we have so far identified 4 words. So there are 2 more words. Nikitha, can you try? Come. strain.
So what are the two words?
Huh?
What are the two words like example or any clue?
No, you have to identify. Identify. If you want to have a clue, you can turn it.
You can see the hints.
Xylem over and then. Nishanth, you can help her.
Tissues. Another you must identify. Enjoy your own.
Croc, no? So,
Yes. Use your brain.
What is the other word?
Croc,
C-O-R-K. Huh?
Croc, C-O-R-K.
C-O?
R-K.
Where is it? Cork.
Cork.
Where is the cork? Identify cork. Okay, you can help her. Keep
See
it
here.
straight, man.
C-O-R-K. You must identify
Ah.
if you see and if you check here and C is there and O. So you must
C-O-R. Okay. Very good.